So yes, women initiate about 80%, so 75 to 80%, depending on who number you use. They initiate the most divorces. What precipitates those things? Primarily for women, it's money. Maybe so like men, it could be sex too, but like primarily for men, when men have a problem with women, it's about sex. For women, and it's usually about status of the guy that they thought was going to be the winning horse. And he's not wrong about that. But that doesn't invalidate the other hypothesis of ovulatory shift. Why do people get together in the first place? It's not so that they can cheat on each other. They're not thinking of that in the first place. They just want to get with each other. Well, what is it that happens prior to a couple actually becoming a fucking couple? Well, in that case, maybe we should be focusing on the alpha fuck side of hypergamy rather than just the beta buck side. And the reason we do, David Buss, Jordan Peterson, God knows whoever, Hafiz, everybody, the reason why we only focus on that side is because it's flattering to the female ego. We want to say the right fucking thing rather than have Rollo Tomasi show up and go, you know what? It's actually about alpha fucks too. It's actually about Jason Momoa. It's actually about Justin Waller. It's actually about Mike Sartain, right? It's actually about the hot guy in the fucking foam cannon party. We don't want to have that conversation because that's unflattering. Because that is being judgmental. And God forbid, that's the cardinal sin of the gynocentric social order, is to ever call women out on the fact that you want to know why this is me spitballing. You want to know why what my opinion is about the crisis of replicability is because so many women are now involved in psychology and they don't like the unflattering truths that Marty Hazelton and other Gangstad and the rest of them came to as far back as the mid 2000s all the way up to the 20 teens. And then suddenly out of the blue, that doesn't replicate anymore. Well, actually it does replicate, and I will show you why. Because I also happen to have, where did it go? I've got this data set right. Here it is. Okay, here we go. Okay, so this is sorry, that's the mate copying one. This is the one I'm looking for. Okay, Jonathan Powelson. Okay, this paper mentions several studies that show and then, by the way, this is as far back as January 8th, 2021, right around the time Dr. David Buss decided to have a change of heart. Okay, this paper mentions several studies that show a change in female mating desire depending on hormone levels and fertility. Seems to me that there are some studies showing this is the case, and some possibly lower powered studies that show no results. Okay, ovulation, sex, and hormones. You would have to pay for this behind a paywall, but I can at least read you the abstract here. The dual mating strategy hypothesis proposes, I'm reading to you from the SciNet site here. The dual mating strategy proposes that women's preferences for uncommitted sexual relationships, uncommitted sexual relationships with men displaying putative fitness cues increases during the high fertility phase of the menstrual cycle, that being the proliferative phase. Results consistent with this hypothesis are widely cited as evidence that sexual selection has shaped human mating psychology. However, the methods used in most of these studies have recently been extensively criticized. Here we discuss new empirical studies that address these methodological problems and largely report null results, and in alternative models of hormonal regulation of women's mating psychology that can be better accommodate with this new data, Essentially what there's, and I could read you the conclusions here too. Essentially what they're saying in this study is that the jury's not out on this. Okay, there's still very robust findings in spite of the crisis of replication. So why does David Buss think that this is a better idea? Why are we trying to apply infidelity to the overall mating strategy? That's where I have a problem with this. I see all of this. I'm a layman here. I don't have a doctorate in any of this shit, but I can see this. Why is Rollo Tomasi the one banging the gong here? That's what I want to know.
And so there's at least a fair amount of circumstantial evidence that supports the mate switching hypothesis, like the one I just mentioned. Women, with 79% of women becoming emotionally involved or falling in love with their partner, this suggests, it's not just, oh, I'm seeking transient attention. as you mentioned. That some women might do it for that, of course. But it suggests that they're forming a long-term attachment to this other guy rather than the regular partner. So here's another one. And this may seem like super, super obvious, is that women who are unhappy with their regular relationship, either sexually unhappy or generally unhappy with their overall relationship, they're more likely to have affairs. Now, this seems like the most obvious thing in the world, right? Yeah, sure. Tell me something your grandmother couldn't tell you. You're unhappy in the relationship, you're more likely to have an affair. But it turns out the same is not true for men.
Okay, hold on. Let's back the truck up here a little bit. Dr. Marty Hazelton already covered this in Ovulatory Shift. Why is that? Well, let's go back to what I said last week about hypergamy not being a straitjacket. Okay. So what do guys say? You want to know here? I think one of the reasons why a lot of guys are like trying to lean towards the mate shifting, switching, whatever the hell we're fucking calling it. The reason we're leaning towards this is because there's too many incels and too many black pill doomers and Spurgtau or whatever the hell we're calling them right now who think that hypergamy means that she will always cheat. She will always want to get with the bigger and the better deal. I'll never compete. I'll never be a contender. I'm uncompetitive. I can't do that. Anyways, the juice ain't worth the squeeze. You want to know why these guys are trying to come up with with different ideas? It's because of you Doomtow guys talking about, oh, well, hypergamy is a straitjacket. No, it's not. And the reason why I say that is because Dr. Marty Hazelton herself has said that when women are in that ovulatory phase, in that proliferative phase, that if that woman is either single, and this is her, okay, again, I'm paraphrasing, but is either single or she is dissatisfied in that relationship she happens to be in, then she is more predisposed, more sexually proceptive to go out and seek extramarital, extracurricular, extra relationship sex with guys who look like Jason Momoa. They used Jason. I'm going to use him. but let's insert the but here. Okay. But if that woman is in a satisfactory or a relationship where she is comfortable and enjoys being in that relationship, she is still more sexually proceptive with the dude she's with. That's her, not David Buss, but she's a student, I guess, but is more sexually perceptive with the guy she is in a committed relationship with if she's in a satisfying relationship. Her words, not mine, not Dr. David Buss's. Completely out the window, completely ignoring that side. It's alpha fuck side from within a relationship. That's why it's not a straitjacket. But if all we ever hear about is guys are fixating on this beta buck side and women are always going to cheat because I'm never going to make enough money and I don't look good enough. Yeah, I can completely understand why people are like, well, I better think of something else, right? No, it's because when women are in a satisfactory relationship, they want to fuck their boyfriends that much more. Surprise. Wow, what a shock that must be. That's her. That's from the ovulatory shift dualistic mating strategy side of this argument.